Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies, and this video is Personality vs. Principle by Manly P. Hall. An article taken from the All-Seeing Eye, Volume 2, Number 3, January 1924. Personality vs. Principle. Instead of building our temple upon the rock of principle, most of us trust the weight of our souls upon the fleeting clouds of personality, not seeming to realize that in this world of ever-changing things there is no perfection, but just combating, striving organisms that vanish from this mortal veil as soon as they have achieved and therefore are not to be found here. Be it saint or sage, all who dwell here are battling with faults and failings, and seeking with the light of the spark within to read the mystic message of experience. There is no reality in matter, yet it is part of the great plan whereby man may achieve ultimate reality. We worship graven images, and then, as time shows us their faults and failings, we turn away disillusioned, blaming them but really responsible ourselves for having sought the ultimate in the transitory. Wherever we find personality, we will find the traits that hurt us, qualities not true to the ideal, lives unable to express the true ultimate of their desire, unable to really show the feelings and ideals which fill their souls. For, as the apostle said, when they would do good, evil is ever with them. When they would be kind, the sharp word comes. When they would soothe, the hand is rough and callous. When they would give words to the dreams of their soul, only harsh guttural sounds came forth. The beauty is within, but usually remains unknown. Personalities are to principles what matter is to spirit, and what lips are to the voice. They fashion its very tones, but the source is ever the same. But we cannot learn, apparently, to overlook the personality. We accept lives because of the pleasing personality, and reject truth if the bearer be uncouth, judging all things by the arc of a brow, the clasp of a hand, or the tone of a voice. In other words, as did the children of Israel while Moses was upon the mountain, we worship the golden calf and ornament statues of wood and stone. The great struggle has always been between the personal and impersonal. We say, I like Jones, but I do not like Smith, while the thing really liked and disliked is neither Jones nor Smith, but a personality through which the struggling rays of an individuality shine but partially, a glass darkened by the film of matter. We must learn to look for truth, regardless of the bearer. We are not called upon to live the life of the teacher, or to copy his mistakes. But when we turn from the light because the bearer fails to please us, we are merely cutting off our own nose to spite our face. The light shines through these instruments which are at hand. On the potter's wheel of being are molded many shapes of clay, some broken, some deformed, and yet into each is poured the water of life, that to it others may come to drink if they will. All is the same water, though the vessels differ. If man waits for a perfect one to bring his light, he will wait forever, for perfection would be unrecognizable if seen. To us, reality would be strange and weird, and a perfect man would be a curiosity, boresome, dull, and uninteresting, and absolutely unusual because so typically usual. The greater a person is, the more he is scoffed at for his failings by those who know less than he does, but he has no way of reaching his fellow creatures unless, like them, he is born in the veil of imperfection. However, we are not forced to judge upon the merits of form alone, and those who do so are foolish, for they prove that the weakness is in their own souls, or they would not have found it in the soul of another. When we hear our favorite teacher launch forth in a stream of profanity, we faint in our friend's arms, stricken with mortal horror, while a great big golden calf comes tumbling down to burrow its nose in the dirt. We are disillusioned, our hearts are busted, our souls are shattered, and our dream fades into these shadows. And so it goes. The light shining down to earth shines into the unreal through many little windows. Some are open but a little wall, and a tiny little shaft of light is all that it's seen. Others are great stained glass windows like those in mighty cathedrals, which, through the beauty of their forms and colors, send soft glows of mystic light that rest our souls and calm our spirits. Through other windows the light glares out, injuring our eyes and bewildering us with its dazing radiance. But wherever there is even a tiny little opening, a beam shines through, and that beam is the hope of glory to some soul, the promise of salvation to some otherwise empty life, and a man who turns from the light, which shines faintly, will never reach the light that shines brightly, for, having found the gleam of possibility, it is his duty to seek the open window himself, that the light may shine more brightly. This world is filled with hearts that are cold, with lives that are cold, with cruelty, with hate, with thoughtlessness, with prejudice, and with crime. Yet in almost every heart there is one little spot where the light shines through. Shall we say the light is not good because the window is befogged? Are we here in this world to worship windows? Are we here to reject the messenger because of the door through which he passes? Shall we say the door is black and no white thing can come through it? Shall we say the messenger is weak, therefore the light is false? Or shall we follow in the footsteps of the wise ones who, knowing that the flesh is weak, do not serve it, but thank even the weakened personality for the little light that does come through, and praise God that there is much as there is? So in our works, let us divide between false and true, between the weak and the strong. Let us be servants of the masterpiece and not to the frame which borders it. For though the frame be broken and tarnished, the picture within is by the hand of an artist. Let us glorify the picture and be thankful for the protection of the frame. This world judges God by men because man is made in the image of God. But as men cannot live up to the image, it is the privilege of man to forgive the weakness in his brother, for tomorrow he must be forgiven. The privilege of man is to overlook. Only God has the privilege to judge. Let us create true charity within our souls, realizing that the light shines through many windows. Our duty is not to judge the window of our brother, but to make certain that ours is open and the light passes through. Those who keep their souls clean will lose faith in nothing, but will gain faith in all things. Upon the rock of personality, the noble vessels of the soul are shattered. We say, the man is bad, so how can the light be good? We say that he is rough, coarse, and ill-mannered. How can God speak through such a one? Surely he is false, in that he is not like his God. That in itself is a blaspheme, for what right has man to judge man by God? If man were to truly do like his God, his brother would then as surely denounce him as a blasphemer and a hypocrite. Therefore, thank God for mistakes and faults. They tie us together, but we need neither serve them nor copy them. To say, others do ill, why should I do better, is utterly foolish. Another's mistakes must be paid for by him, and if we follow in his footsteps, we too shall have to pay for them. Our duty is to judge no one save ourselves, and to always remember that even a thief can bring us light, or that a murderer could aid in our redemption. When man fails through weakness, the world points its fingers at him and says, like the priest of old, what good thing can come out of Nazareth? In other words, it is, what good things can an evil man do? And yet with all his erring, a man may have light, where we are in darkness. Where he may have broken one law, he may have kept another we have broken. We do not need to copy his faults, but we should be big enough to aspire to his good qualities. Many a crook lives a more honest life than the Christian. we usually meet. Many a heart cold to most things has the soft spot in it where ours is cold. Let us learn to live and know this truth. Divide the good from the evil as we would the gold from the dross. Keep the man or the woman out of the problem and serve the spirit of light which they have shown us. The idea that man's word is wrong because he is not good himself is foolish, and those who ostracize such a one and destroy his philosophies for his morals or his intellectuality for his concepts are only losing opportunities. An individual who is unable to divide between personality and principle is unable to fully learn or know anything, and there is no time in the universe for him. When a dear old lady comes up to us and says she has left the church because of the Parsons scandal, we are sincerely sorry, not for the church, but for the old lady who has left the light because the window has specks on it and will wander in darkness rather than take bread from the hands of sinners. The Master broke bread with the publicans and sinners, taught them, loved them, and worked with them, and from them chose his disciples that they might carry on his laws. If those were his concepts, they should be good enough for his followers. We should never be guilty of mixing our philosophy with our personalities, for when we do, we prove beyond all doubt that we are unworthy of the philosophy. The great test which few stand up under is the test of standing true to the ideal when the idol falls. Those who have reached that point are in the light, the rest are in the shade, not the shade because there is no light, but because they refused the light and sacrificed its gleams rather than accepting it in an undesirable personality. The war of all the ages is between personality and principle. An individual who is still able to turn up his nose is still unable to enter heaven, and you would be surprised at the strength of the nasal muscle on some people we know. The holier-than-thou doctrines of life were shattered by the doctrines of Christ, who, when speaking to a woman taken in adultery, said, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone, and afterwards, neither do I accuse you. Go and sin no more." The modern world is basing itself not upon spirituality or honesty, but upon concepts, creeds, and caste. If there is one person you look down upon, one religion you hate, one relative who has played you false and you refuse to forgive, if such a one there be, from them shall come the light, and without them you shall be in darkness. God shatters the idols of man as fast as he rises them, that man may learn to build from principle and not personality, for ideal and not for idol, and shall worship the light and not the bearer who, were he not in sin, could not bring it to you. So thank God for the light he sends, and do not criticize the one who brings it. In this secret lies the foundation of wisdom and the path of the law. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.